We black and we proud. PDP, we voting for PDP. This is a black hole. PDP, we voting for PDP. PDP, PDP, black and proud. No weapon form against you. So higher than an eagle. 10,000 falling at your left, 10,000 at your right. Victory today. No weapon form against you. Jah protect our heroes. Look, haters falling on your left and haters on your right. Victory today. I be with black and we proud. This is a black hole. PDP, we voting for PDP. Vote out PNM. Tracy and her friends, you won't see them tomorrow. No, this is a black hole. PDP, show where we black and we proud. PDP, we voting for PDP. Vote out PNM. Tracy and her friends, you won't see them tomorrow. No, black and proud the guy. Love with Tobago pride. Valid what's in so shock it, don't ever give up this fight. When the food shit I galvanize, you bring tears to pop people's eyes. Mighty Jim, Megan Morrison beat out the pain and blind. We proud. PDP, this is a black hole. PDP, we voting for PDP. Vote out PNM. Tracy and her friends, you won't see them tomorrow. No. No weapon form against PDP, PDP. Just said you're higher than them. 10,000 falling at your left, 10,000 at your right. Victory today. No weapon form against PDP, PDP. Just said you're higher than the eagle. What's it? Haters scatter on your left, some scatter on your right. Victory today. Black when we touch the road, in with PDP t-shirt. Voting Dr. Fred Asia, voting for what's in new. Black like jackals, that bamboo will face smoke. Is this kaleidoscope? Tell them black is the code. We proud. PDP, Trevor, this is a black hole. PDP, voting for PDP. Vote on PNM. Tracy and her friends, you won't see them tomorrow. No. Tomorrow, no. PDP, PDP, total black hole. PDP, PDP, Charlottesville to PDP, PDP, black is beautiful. PDP, PDP, yes we black and proud. PDP, PDP, total voting for PDP, black and we proud. PDP, voting for PDP, this is a black hole. PDP, PDP, black and proud. No weapon form against you. So higher than an eagle. 10,000 falling at your left, 10,000 at your right. Victory today. No weapon form against you. Jah protect. PDP victory. The road now run, the journey rough. We foot strong and our we skin tough. So many that have been thrown at us. Real Spartans never give up. The winds of change blowing your way. Bust off those chains. It's a brand new day. It's not a dream. It is for real. of Jubilee. PDP victory. Yeah. PDP victory. Tobagonians are born fighters. Carry the genes of our ancestors. You change hands so many times, mama. To get your freedom, you have to fight back. I see the many scars upon your back.
I have found that Tobago gets more done when Tobago votes for Tobago Central Party that does not have a base in Trinidad. Because Tobago has to mind Tobago's business now. We have not mind our business for the last 21 years. We're minding the business now.
PDP victory. Yeah. PDP victory. Your enemies you shall see no more. Tobagonians will live better off. Better opportunities for the poor. Victimization it will be no more. The winds of change blowing your way. Bust off those chains. It's a brand new day. It's not a dream.
Good evening, Spartans. Those of you in Tobago, Trinidad, and across the oceans. Good evening and welcome to the workshop. Please stand for the playing of the national anthem of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago. And this would be followed by prayer by Mrs. Donna Parks Green.
Let us pray. Father God, I want to just give you thanks and praise for a day like this. You said in everything, give thanks and praise. And Father God, as we come together in a meeting like this once again, we ask you for your guidance and your covering, oh God. Father God, we ask you to cover the 15 candidates, my God, in no other name but the precious name of Jesus. Father God, I ask you for a special covering over the political leader and the deputy political leaders, oh God. Father God, in no other name but we ask you this evening. Father God, as everything that will be said on this stage will be edifying to the citizens of this island. Oh, Father God, we give you praise and we give you thanks again. As you said, let us stand firm and we will see the change, oh God. And Father God, I just want to thank you for that word today, in no other name but the precious name of Jesus, as we continue. Bless God.
Thank you, Sister Parks Green. Spartans, PDP on the road. We are here another night, another time. Let me first acknowledge in absentia the political leader of the PDP, Comrade Watson Solomon Duke, the deputy political leaders, Brother Fali, Chavez, Augustine, Dr. Faith B. Israel, and Mrs. Alicia Roberts Patterson. I acknowledge the chairman, the deputy chair, and all those of the executive. I say welcome to all the candidates. It is PDP time, but tonight the focus is on the electoral district of Bonaccord, Crown Point, and the candidate, Joel Notzi Sampson, Tobago. You feeling it, Mr. DJ? Give me 2 bars there. Yes, Tobago, are you feeling it? Trinidad, across the oceans, feel the PDP strength, feel the PDP power, feel the hope that PDP brings to us as a people on this island. We're riding with Farley. We're feeling it, Tobago. We're feeling it in Palatovier, Lands for me, Speyside. We're feeling it in Roxburgh Isle. We're feeling it in Glamorgan, Belgarden. We're feeling it in Mount St. George Goodwood. We're feeling it in Bagatelle, Bacalet. We're feeling it in Scarborough, Mount Grace. We're feeling it in Bagatelle, Bacalet. We're feeling it in Bethesda, Lecoto. We're feeling it in Plymouth, Blackrock. We're feeling it in Bonaccord, Crown Point. We're feeling it in Lambo, Lowlands. We're feeling it in Signal Hill, Patience Hill, Tobago, across all 15 electoral districts. We're feeling PDP. We're feeling PDP. Thank you, DJ. Yes. We're feeling it. And we're riding the wave. Somebody said a creep. They talk about 2 seats, then 6. Well, we will feel the gallop. We're riding it to the winning poll. 6 p.m. on Monday, the 6th of December. It's PDP time, ladies and gentlemen. Brothers and sisters, we are here in 2021. We know Tobago as it is now. Some of you are very young, and probably no one has been telling you about your history, about your struggle, and why we are where we are today, and why PDP is relevant to the political landscape of this island, why PDP has come in to rescue this island from the downslide, from where it is the pit, the morass that we are now in. Let us learn. I want to read for you. I wasn't even born yet. 1957. Trinidad and Tobago was not even an independent nation as yet. So listen to the words of who was then our premier, and that was Dr. Eric Eustace Williams. And you must remember that we were not always a union. There was not always Trinidad and Tobago. At one time, we were separate. Here are the words of our premier in 1957. There is a moral obligation in respect of the Act of Union of 1898 between Trinidad and Tobago. On the occasion of that Act of Union, the Legislative Council of Tobago introduced, among several resolutions, the following: that inasmuch as the wish of the people of Tobago for union with Trinidad has principally being based on the representations of the government and the assurance given to the people that material benefit would result to Tobago from that union. The Secretary of State for the Colonies be respectfully asked that in the event of such union taking place, to afford the people of Tobago a pledge that should it prove disadvantageous to the colony or otherwise undesirable to the majority of its inhabitants, this colony shall on petition have granted back to it the form of self-government which now exists here. Now that was one of the plantocracy and so on. We're not arguing for that. And the Premier continued. June 7th, it was a Friday, 1957. Mr. Deputy Speaker, 10 years after this resolution, on the occasion of the Act of Union, the first gross betrayal by Trinidad of its trust took place. And he went on. Tobago in 1899 became the most offensive of terms in our political vocabulary. The island ward of Trinidad. And thereafter, to tell you how long we under pressure with the PNM, hear me well, for close on 60 years, the government of Trinidad, up to the present one, of which he was the leader, has had the opportunity of emphasizing its neglect and underlining the betrayal of the trust imposed on it by the Act of the Union. We are under pressure a long time, brothers and sisters. We were forced, for the reasons of that era, there's a union between Trinidad and Tobago. And the Premier at that time said, the most offensive term, we became an island ward of Trinidad. And it remains like that for today. Brothers and sisters, Tobago has known struggle for too long. We need a strong and powerful voice to argue for Tobago in the face of what currently exists. We can't take this pressure no more. When the word autonomy comes up, people get ferocious, they get angry. Nobody wants to let us go. But let me use words from Angela Davis tonight. I am no longer accepting things I cannot change. I am changing things I cannot accept. And brothers and sisters, it started in January. Or let me say it started in 2017 with 2 seats. In January of this year, we got a step further with 6 seats. We're finishing it. At 6 p.m. on the 6th of December, when the polls are closed, when the votes are counted on that night, we as a people must rejoice. The 7th of December, we must wake up with a voice of praise. We must thank God for giving us beautiful ashes on the 7th of December. Beautiful ashes. And PDP is the hope. Brothers and sisters, we gotta fight. Election is not won by what we do here, by our presence on social media. Elections are won on the ground. It is won on the ground. And we're not about to lose this, brothers and sisters. Let me tell you, this was 1957. In 1978, when Robinson started the file, this was an article carried in our newspaper, PNM Against Tobago Internal Self-Government. And I have kept it from then until now. The PNM Center team, Ms. Cynthia Alfred, the deceased Basil Pitt, and just as what they are doing now, when there is an election in Tobago, they bring support from across the pond en masse to tell us who here under pressure. Under pressure, we hear under pressure. And they come en masse. The same thing happened when they appeared before the committee then. There was a Mr. Rennie Matthews, an alderman and chairman of the St. Patrick County Council. Those were the three persons who were sent by the PNM to object to internal self-government for Tobago. And they continue up to today. But brothers and sisters, tonight is the night for Bonaccord Crown Point. Because we need to bring it home. And there is an excellent, competent candidate whose name would be on the ballot. But we have some endorsers. And tonight I want to bring to us the candidate for the electoral district of Buku Mount Pleasant. Buku Mount Pleasant, you are going to have such sunny days. From December 6th, let's welcome Brother Sonny Craig.
Good evening, Spartans. Woo. Sunny days ahead. It's a pleasure to be here again. And let me, in absentia, I just learned that word from the goodly lady, recognize our political leader, Mr. Watson Solomon Duke, the deputy political leaders, Mr. Fali Chavez Augustine, Ms. Faith B. Israel, and Mrs. Alicia Roberts Patterson, Chairman Dr. Ned, and, am I getting this right? And Mr. Kawan. All right, I can't, Vice Chairman, Mr. Kawan. How are you feeling tonight? You know, once I have to talk to you, I like to preface what I have to say from the Bible. It has been my guide for my entire life. I can't drop it now. You know, when the Bible began, in the first chapters of Genesis, it spoke to an encounter between a serpent and the first woman. The woman was told not to partake of a certain fruit. And she got strict directions if she wanted to live forever. The serpent came on the scene and added one word. When God told her, if you eat this, you will die, the serpent added the word not. He said, you shall not surely die. That serpent is the first spin doctor in history. What does a spin doctor do? Right now, somebody is listening to me from the other side. They're going to take bits and pieces of what I'm saying, and they're going to spin it. They might attach it to something from the UNC. They might attach it to something that we know Tobago people might be suspicious about. And then they are going to present it as if it came from us. Are you with me? During the week that is just ending, I saw ads being run on social media that had nothing to do with PDP. Yet, the spin doctors added a word, cut out a piece here, cut out a bit there, and created something to distract Tobago people. I am calling on Tobago people this evening. I'm calling on you this evening to check yourself. I was reliably informed that they plan to get me out of Buku, and not the people of Buku. The plan is to bombard the area with so much music and so much PNM paraphernalia that people would be, for want of another word, hypnotized. Because if you look at the campaign, look at where we're going, you would see that there are issues the Tobago people need answers for, and the answers are not forthcoming. People of Tobago, stand your ground, hold your focus. We are on the edge of our deliverance. Ask them, where is the $10 million that kept changing accounts between Tobago and London? Somebody needs to answer those questions. Instead of coming into the area, playing a set of loud music, giving away jerseys with money, are we together? Somebody needs to focus and hold the strain. You need to understand that what is going to happen over the next few days will not be normal. I am seeing information to suggest that our warfare is not carnal. Our warfare is not normal. We are in for a rough ride this week. Hold the ground, Tobago people. Stand firm and focus. Let's focus. Somebody needs to answer. Whatever became of Sanctuary Resort. Somebody needs to answer. Whatever became of Mantle Lodge. Somebody needs to answer. What became of the Cassava Company? And the list goes on and on. And instead of answering our questions, somebody is trying to bombard us with music, bombard us with t-shirts, with food cards, for us to lose our focus. Tobago people, focus. The PDP is not about oppression. The PDP is about everybody. Our deputy political leader, Fali Chavez Augustine, made it clear. Even people who support the PNM, should they win one seat, would be given the funding to run their constituency. We're not bad mind on this side. We're not vengeful on this side. Focus and let's hold the strain. One more week to go. I have the pleasure of representing Bukuman Pleasant, and I always add in Canaan. But on paper, it's Bukuman Pleasant. And we are bound with Notsi on this side. You know, I watch Buku Point, and I went to primary school there. I understand the village, and I watch the development going on. Concrete trucks running steady, paving areas, building boardwalk. I see nice flower gardens, and I'm not that biased to say it's not nice. Nice flower gardens. But the funny thing is, this is happening right on the doorstep of a dying reef trade. Buku Point used to be the place you boarded your boats to go to the reef. The original finders of the reef are from Buku Point. Those who started the trade are from Buku Point. Yet the trade is dying in Buku Point, and the assemblyman is planting flowers. One of the greatest men I've ever known, my father, when we built our first house, I asked him, Daddy, why are you planting mango and orange? The yard have no flowers. The neighbors would not look at us kindly if we don't have flowers. And he asked me one question. He said, can you eat flowers? And I backed away. Eventually, we got some flowers in some pots. But Daddy was serious about food. And I'm saying that going forward, we need to be able to do the things that would bring bread and butter issues to the front. We need to stop treating our people as though they cannot perceive and understand what's happening. And this gamble that's going on out there, this mass paving and mass box drains and mass flower bed planting, It will backfire on the Red Brigade. It will backfire because Tobago is saying we have had enough. PDP. We are focused. We are going to bring it home. We are going to win these elections. And when you pray, don't pray for a win. Pray like me. Pray for 15 seats. Pray for 15 seats. I'll go back to the Bible and tell you this. In Galatians, a question was asked. Who has bewitched you? I went looking for the meaning of bewitched. And I found out to influence or affect, especially injuriously by witchcraft. To influence or affect, especially injuriously by witchcraft. And Paul was asking the people, you know truth, you know what the facts are, but you're doing something contrary. That means something has come over you that you need to deal with. How could we look at Tobago in its present condition? How could we ask these hard questions and nobody's answering, and Tobagonians are still supporting this? Tobagonians, who hath bewitched you? And I'm calling on you to focus. It has come down to just a simple competition. They run hard just to win. And when they win, we fall back in the same stupor for 4 more years. Tobagonians, focus. Focus. We are committed in the PDP to taking Tobago to the next level. We are focused, we are determined. And with people like Nutsi, let me swing the attention now. People like Nutsi on the team, we have nothing to fear. Put your hands together for Nutsi. I told the folk in Bonaccord recently, I found out he's my cousin, close cousin. And I have been observing the young man before I found out that. And I love his focus, his determination. And when I was here the last time, I told you about a text in the Bible when Jesus asked Peter, who do men say that I am? And when people told me who Nutsi was in his absence, I felt comfortable that Bonaccord Crown Point is in good hands. Yesterday, while finalizing my walk, I met a lady, and as I approached the property, you know, there are some properties some people will not approach. There is no property I will not approach, because in every property in Tobago, somebody lives there. I walked up to the fence, a big dog and me 50-50 over the fence, and the ladies beyond. I said, Miss, I am Sonny Craig of the PDP, and I've come to ask for your support. Or at least, could we have a conversation? Her response, she said, I ain't want nothing to do with the voting. I said, why? And her eyes got red. And she said, I moved from down the road for them to build the airport. And she's paying rent. And the length of time it's taking for her to relocate, the little money they gave her is disappearing slowly. And these are our people. These are our people. Nutsi has a job on his hand, but he's not going to work alone. He has 14 of us with him. And we are not going to work alone. We have 60,000 Tobagonians. And they are not going to work alone. We have the entire diaspora to work with us to help our people realize their dreams in life. It's hard to become an adult, invest in real estate, and have to leave it for an unsure future. I say at this time, Brother Nutsi, we are with you. Tobago is with you. And we have the confidence all the way. We have the confidence that you are going to bring it home. Ooh. You need to work a little harder, because that 50-something, I know that stirred him up a bit. Some people would back away and never look back. But Nazi said 53, is it 53? Wow. 53, no surrender, no retreat. So at this time, I have the pleasure of endorsing him and letting the whole world know on social media, wherever you are, Bonaccord Crown Point is in capable hands. Bonaccord Crown Point have a lot to fix. And I must let you know, we go fix it. We go fix it. Let me fix it. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you, Brother Craig. Sunny days indeed are ahead of us. You know, Joel Sampson is one of the persons who baffled me. Now, we knew he lost in January, but clearly in that loss, there was a lot of learning. There was a lot of learning. Because I would look every week and I wondered, what manner of man is Joel Notsi Sampson? I said, one day I asked my cousin Dudu, I said, Dudu, Notsi, know that he lost? Because it was like water on the back of a duck. It rolled off. He accepted what the result was. He said, listen, this is my space. This is my place. These are my people. They need me, and I am going to be there with him. Not say, you did well. Brothers and sisters, the leader of this team is a teacher. And Chavez has empowered all of us. And this is teaching ground. So we're teaching as we go along. We're having fun, we're learning, we're pitching PDP, but we're learning, because you as a people, you must know that there is more besides your ex. You must be educated. We must pump knowledge into you. You must be able to stand up against the best and have a solid opinion, solid views. Go with me. I'm going to read you little excerpts. Now, in the year 2000, Monday, October 23rd, 2000, there was a debate in Parliament, and it had to do with the Dispute Resolution Commission report, which this dealt with how much of the national pie should Tobago expect or get. And the recommendation was it should be between 4.03% to 6.9%, 4.03 being the minimum. But I want to read some excerpts for you. Excerpts from the contribution of our now Prime Minister, Dr. Keith Rowley. And when you're done, when I'm done, I want you to tell me whether that is the same individual who is now the political leader of the PNM, and is the same PNM that has held the reins of governance at the Tobago House of Assembly for the last 21 years. Let's go. I distinctly recall in this Parliament my voice and the voice of the MP for Tobago West asking the government why it was allowing politicians in Tobago to disregard the Parliament and the rules and regulations. It mattered not to them. Right. Go with me, don't leave me at all. Now he continued to talk. We remember the infamous Ada? Right. And he started talking about Adan, that debacle. And he said, you have a duty to find out what goes on there, because the Tobago House of Assembly has filed a suit in Florida, and 15 million of our money has jumped up in the steel ban. The people in Tobago believe that somebody is afraid of them, so you must not ask any questions. What they are asking us to do is to give them a portion of the national pie, and having handed it over, just turn your backs and get out. We ain't done yet, you know. Mr. Speaker, I cannot support that. I cannot support that, yes, they must have their money, but they must account for every cent of public money that is spent in Tobago. And this, I was elected by the people of this country in larger numbers than any person in the Tobago House of Assembly. And I cannot claim that right to want to spend government money and say, do not ask me anything. And to add insult to injury, the nastiness has pervaded the elected officials and has now seeped down to public servants. To my horror, I saw in the information provided here where a public servant who was instrumental in having public monies run out of government coffers writing to the authorities saying that they are not bound to respond to queries from the Auditor General, and they got legal advice stating so. No person or persons must assume that because they happen to hold some little office somewhere in the country, that they can thumb their nose at the rest of the country and spend money by the millions. I have never seen $1 million. I have held office in this country as a minister of government for 4 years, and I have never authorized $1 million expenditure. There are people in Tobago who, without proper authority, have purported to authorize millions of dollars, not once, but twice. And to add insult to injury, even after everybody else had said there was a mistake, it should never happen. Only two days ago, I read in the newspaper a statement from the Chief Secretary of Tobago saying that ring bang was a great thing. So he was talking about the statement made, purported to Mr. Charles. Brothers and sisters, let me not take too much of Nazi time. The government, and the government at that time was the UNC. The government must tell us how it proposes to move forward to create an environment where all the monies allocated to Tobago can be properly accounted for by the Parliament. And then there was a court ruling he made reference to. He said the ruling is that the Tobago House of Assembly cannot be a runaway horse. However, I serve notice that I will demand accountability at every level in Tobago, whether it is from the public service or at the level of the executive of the Tobago House of Assembly. I will demand accountability, and for those who cannot account, I will support any move to have the full force of the law brought to bear on their discretion. People, that was the MP for Digo Martin West. And as they say, a few moments later.
A few moments later.
A few moments later. We as a people are going to demand accountability. Where the capital of paradise? A few moments later,
A few moments later.
Where the $10 million that went in the wrong account that was supposed to belong to Virgin?
A few
moments later. Where the D'Angelo money?
A few moments later.
Where the profit and financial statements from the cassava company and all the companies set up by the Tobago House of Assembly?
A few moments later.
Where the profit from the Tobago Jazz Experience?
A few moments later.
Where the 9,999 food cards amounting to a total of over $3 million that cannot be accounted for?
A few moments later.
So when they come and they tell you about accountability and transparency, tell them we ain't fools. Let them answer those questions or come back when?
A few moments later.
Brothers and sisters, I bring to you Brother Wayne Was Clark, the candidate for Lambo Lowlands.
PDP family, good night. Come on, you ought to give me some more vibes, man. PDP family, good night. Good, that song better. Now, I have one problem tonight. Miss, I know she name, but I kind of threatening. You can't be talking. I come with 2 pages to talk me thing. Everything I got to say, you think it ought to show me page. But it's all good. In his absence, I want to say, recognize the political leader, Brother Watson Solomon Dew. Deputy political leaders, Farley Chavez Augustine, Alicia Roberts Patterson, and Faith B. Israel. Fellow candidates, Chairman, Mr. Sean Ned, Vice Chairman, Mr. Cowan, and the man of the moment tonight, Mr. Joel Nazi Sampson. And most of all, I want you to give yourself a good hand for this kind of energy you have in the room tonight. Brothers and sisters, I just want to tell you that we're just 1 week away. And at this time, in any contest, most times, it would have already been decided. All you have to do is stay the course. The work was done. You have an opponent. Every time it has been shown, it has been proven over the years. Every time they feel threatened, they resort to name calling. They resort to everything other than what they should be focusing on. This is a campaign that we should be seeing achievements. We should be getting answers for any questions that should arise. And if you hold office with any level of honesty, any level of dignity, any level of pride, then you should be glad to answer all forthcoming questions. And since that is not the case, then something is wrong. And we have to understand that we have a duty to fix what is wrong. Too long, the Tobago public, especially the Tobago public, too easy on politicians. Because you vote, and after you step back, fold your hand, and stoops your teeth. We have to become active. Don't sit for 4 years. And at the end of that 4 years, somebody come
I ain't preaching violence, but I don't know. I want you to tell me what you should do if somebody mess you up for 20 years and then come with a food card. I ain't the biggest accountant, but let me just do a little breakdown. 500. Over 4 years, said I 125 a year. Good. 125 a year. And you know, on the back of the exercise book, there is a say 365 days a year. Said that is less than $1 a day. As a matter of fact, he look less than 50 cents a day. There is only one kind of people you could be coming to fool with 50 cents a day. It means they're telling you you're real stupid. Tobagonians, are we stupid? And no, I want to hear it properly. Tobagonians, are we that stupid? Good. So when they come with the food card, and when they come with the hampers, if you need it, don't be stupid, take it. Because really it's your money they're giving you back. So take it, but don't let it change your focus for December the 6th. Right now, Tobago is in a zone. We on the range. And we're aiming. And when you're aiming, the person who carries around the most guilt will try to engage in a distracting act. To distract you from everything that matters. You are in government for 21 years. And your two biggest projects, they ain't even claiming fame to the cultural complex, is Watson and Farley. 21 years ago, Farley wasn't in politics. But it seemed like Farley was attracting attention from since then. You know, sometimes they say that the future, our past prime minister said about the future being in the book bag of the children. But it wasn't in no book bag when I see Farley get up in a suit where the jacket reach him quite down by his knee and tell of in London, I come in for your work. Well, London realized it's true. London run and push Kelvin Charles there. Kelvin run out, pushing Dennis because he ain't no better, so he got to take the fall. Farley really come for that work, and Farley serious about that work. The PDP is serious at the work. The PDP come to do the work. Too much and too long, we have been settling for less than we deserve. And it's time for you Tobagonians to get up, dust yourself off, and take your rightful place. Demand to be treated with respect. Demand to be treated with a level of honesty. Demand to be treated with a sense of fairness. And in no uncertain way, come December 6th, let these people know that you're not taking that foolishness anymore. You want your respect. You want to be treated with honesty. As a matter of fact, in an easier way to tell them all of that, vote them to hell out. As much as I like the clap and the wave, I prefer the pushing the finger on the 6. So we're going to do a little exercise tonight. Let me see your finger. Hey, a good thing to get social distancing. Watch where you're pushing it. We're just practicing to push. Push it for me. Good. Push it in that ink. And it's going to be one of them times that we ain't even busy to wash it off. Because you know why? We're proud of it. And the other reason why we're going to leave it there is to show them that that color will never be dominant in Tobago again. You know, for some strange reason, the last election, Brother Stanford Calendar went to Lambo and had a lot to say about me. Well, I did answer. Now the political leader take up the battle. Imagine, I never use degrading language to nobody, but out of all the candidates, you know, I just work for the smallest money. And this woman had to be real stupid to say I put in money in Jersey to give people. I had to get up 4 o'clock in the morning and go and pelt cutlass. I don't know if cutlass or that's cutlass. Look, all my hand with corn. I saw me even making 500 a day. I go put that in a jersey. Not say for the putting money in jersey. Give me to distribute because I will distribute the jersey. Because not only I, but the PDP needs the money. That's the kind of campaign we're running. We look like we have money. But lo and behold, decision time. Every time we come to a place where we have to make a decision, we have been distracted with all the things that doesn't matter. And this is the time when we have to remain focused. That's all you have to do for one more week. Stay the course. Focus. You're on the range now and you're aiming. There are 2 main targets on that range. One you're going to take down and one you're going to put up. We know which one we're going to take down. And because we stand here in unity tonight, all of us, the same color, the same black, and the same level of proudness, we know which one we're going to hold up. The PDP is that party which is going to stand tall come December 6th as we begin to transform Tobago. Tobago not only needs a facelift, Tobago needs to see the back of 21 years of negativity. Tobago, not only we need a new face, yes, we just need a total facelift. Sometimes you know you got to fix something and when you watch it you say, nah, but you better start over, boy. Well, I ain't think the position they put we in. Well, we come up with the right thing. Put we in a position that require real work. So you know how we do? We come up with the workshop. We come up with the workshop and we have 15 hard-working people who already signed up. Come for the work and just awaiting you to give them that green slip to proceed, which we're going to get on December the 6th, in which we're going to start that work to restore Tobago. And I have no doubt, brothers and sisters, that if we put our minds to it, if we work together, if we do what we have to do as a people, we can make it if we try. And let's not just try. Let's try a little harder. And I'll give you a couple reasons why I want us to try. Trying is a good thing. Because in reality, a man never fails. He gives up trying. And we have to have that spirit in us. That we're going to continue. They must tired seeing the PDP. Till eventually, you ever play a game when you're small, your mommy or somebody just sitting over there. And you're trying to anger them and you beat a pan or something, hoping that they're going to tell you move from there. And the more they take you on, the harder you beat it. You know that is what they're doing right now. But the pan they're beating is the pan of deception. The pan of distraction. But I want to tell them that the PDP and all these Spartans, not watching at the pan, they could go with the empty pan. But we're going to go with the 15 seats come December 6th. That's what we want. We don't want no more distraction. We don't want no more deception. What we want is a Tobago that's going to start its transformation on the 7th of December with 15 able candidates. At that time, it will be 15 able area reps. That we're going to take Tobago where Tobago needs to be, that a Tobagonian can stand and not bow his head when they mention Tobago. You know, once I went on a course, coach football, so, you know, step out every now and then and do a little coaching course. And at time a guy actually asked me, right in Trinidad tonight, sometimes he hard to believe there's one country. You know? A man asked me if we are internet in Tobago. It was like 4 years ago. And, sometimes you can't really blame them. Because as close as we are in certain ways, we are miles and millions of miles apart. There are people in Trinidad who never set foot in Tobago. And when you don't know about something, you have no choice at times other than to believe what people tell you. But I'm telling you that when the PDP is finished transforming Tobago, I think it wouldn't have a person in Trinidad who wouldn't want to come and see what transformation, honesty, integrity, and proper representation can do. They said Tobago is open for business. That couldn't be true. Tobago is going to be open for business come December 7th. Tobago is going to be ready to start that transformation come December the 7th. Tobago is going to be ready to stand up, rewrite that history, because Tobago will rewrite that history, and it will not be the history that is taught in Port of Spain or anywhere else other than Tobago. And we truly will have a true, glorious, and dignified history. A history where people will have to stand and respect us. Not the Columbus thing. Columbus come and he gone. It seems like the past 21 years, Columbus returned, and he only making some short voyages with millions of dollars. He come, he take 10 million, he gone. He come, he take the zip line, he gone. He come, he take everything that they come and take. What happens? The only thing that is common and consistent is that every time they come, they leave Tobago with less than it should have. Are we willing to stand up? Tobagonians, are we willing to stand up? Because listen, this is serious business, and you have 15 people here who is putting themselves on the line for you. I think you need to appreciate that. I want everybody in here to stand and give these 15 candidates who put themselves on the line against all odds a big round of applause. It is one thing for someone to be advantaging you, but it's a whole other ball game when somebody stepped in front of you and said, "This, finish now. Stop, you're doing enough." The PDP is saying, Tobagonians, you had enough. Time to breathe. Time to prosper. Time to be comfortable. Time to grow. Time to understand that Tobago has a place in the Caribbean amongst the most beautiful islands that the Caribbean has to offer. I've been up and down the Caribbean, and I could tell you that when you talk about tourism, the only thing Tobago don't have is proper packaging, proper branding, and sensible management. That's all we need. And if we could achieve that, and if we could just stop the siphoning of our monies, automatically Tobago will seem to have twice the money that we get from central government. They said the same can mean more. In Tobago's case, the same is more. Because what we get, we only see probably quarter of it. They talk about, we can't be serious with when they talk about better wages. I ain't the biggest technocrat, but I could explain it to you in street terms. A man who works in the private sector, you just go on and work with the contractor across the contractor actually pays you $400 and up a day as a tradesman. In the government sector, that same tradesman gets $200 and something. As a matter of fact, a foreman gets $200 and something. And you know what the price of a laborer on the private market? A laborer gets $300. So let me tell you, Tobagonians, we had to now watch in the bigger picture, you know. And you want more money? Well, let we strengthen the private sector and go in the private sector. If we strengthen the private sector, automatically there will be higher paying jobs, and automatically we will be earning more. So I think that is simple maths. But you know, it's Thursday is my night. You could rub off somebody thing I say. Can't walk them back for Thursday. Let's just shift the light onto a man who deserves the light. Joel Nazi Sampson. And you know, I known Joel a while. We first met playing football. And I wasn't playing, I was coaching. I used to tell him what to do. And even though Joel was the number one keeper we had, Joel will carry out the instructions more promptly than the number 3 keeper. And that tells you something. You know, one day I said, well, this man only agreeing with everything I say. We used to train 4 o'clock. I said, let me hit him one day now. I said, well, I'll come training 2 o'clock tomorrow. Eh? You know, the man was up there 1:45, I give up. I just saying this to say that this guy is humble. And this guy is sincere. And we need a combination of those kind of people to start rebuilding Tobago. Anything you tell Joel is there. One time I heard said, even though you ain't have no money and you ask him to put on your toilet set for you, Joel got do it. I said, let me try him. Time here put no toilet, you the latrine and get them lazy, you know. I said, Joel, I want toilet to go down. Joel reached up by me. I had to tell him he's not here, he's over by my mother. That time my mother dead long time. You know. The man always responds when you call on him. And this is the kind of representation we need. We don't need people. We don't need people who can only celebrate and be celebrated when they're in winner's row. The true mettle of winners and servants are the people who will endure regardless of the result. And Joel is living testimony over the past 10 months that he has been toiling regardless of the result. And I stand here tonight to give Joel my fullest support and to endorse him in the best way I could. Joel, you deserve this. Canaan Bonaccord, you deserve a representative like Joel. And I say, Tobago, you deserve a THA run by the PDP. I thank you and enjoy the rest of your night.
Bonaccord Crown Point. Feel the feeling. Yes. Bonaccord Crown Point is all about Joel Sampson. Yes. Listen, people, all the way. Brothers and sisters, this is serious business. We like the rhythm, we like it, it sounds good. All the need that was giving me pain today when I hear Swapi, I said, pain be gone. And I had my flag. I said, oh Lord, December 6th, Niall George at about 5 minutes past 6 o'clock. You know what I'm doing with the X? All you know what I'm doing with the X for Niall George. Not me and all you tonight. Brothers and sisters, if hypocrisy was a person, the whole podium belonged to the PNM. Gold, silver, bronze. The whole podium belonged to the PNM. It ain't got room for nobody else. You know, this part of Tobago is the capital of science. from back to front, wherever it is, with comma, with dash, with crung, whatever. All colors of the rainbow. This is the capital of science. But the only sign, and I keep looking for it every time I come this way, is this sign which says, "Welcome to the Center of Food Cards." I ain't seen that at all. I don't know if I can see it before December 6th, but I'm looking for it every time I come this way. I said, one day I will see a sign which says, "Welcome to the capital of food card," or the center of food card. But brothers and sisters, we all sat in awe a couple weeks ago. And here's somebody say, I just get in trouble for food card. Because when my package come, them other 400 and change. And then well, a few moments before, we had someone saying to us, "None of my people is involved in such travesty of justice." Right? It was words to that effect. And then a few moments later, when my package come, Assemblyman does say, "No." But brothers and sisters, we on the ground where the general grant operates. And it's not General Grant who does sing, right? But as I said before, if hypocrisy was a person, PNA, this is the current MP for Tobago West, who was an opposition senator in 2013. Go with me again. I can't really hold you tonight. Opposition Senator Shamfa Kojo slammed the People's Partnership government method of distribution for state-funded food cards. And I'm reading from something on the internet, Tobago Daily, tobagojustice.blogspot.com. And she raised her concern about the food card distribution during a debate in Parliament, because the state requested an additional $25 million for the food card support program. And this was attributed to, who is now Minister Kojo. She said a review of the program is needed. I think it is very, very critical that we review and reevaluate the social program. There are many cases being reported of abuse of the program, abuse both by the government and the recipients of the card. She said she mentioned a visit by the then Minister of the People to Tobago between November and December last year, so that would have been 2012, and in which more than $2 million in food card distribution was spent. What I was very concerned about is the process that was used, because you would be sitting in your house during the day, and then you would hear a music truck traveling around the village saying, "Come out and get your food card." The treasury is not your personal bank account. At the end of the day, we are spending taxpayers' money, and this cannot be the way. This is not the way to spend people's money. There must be some kind of legitimate process, some kind of legitimate requirements for applicants, not just to hand out food cards on a music truck. She continued, this lack of care for the public purse, she said, led to the defeat of the TOP in 2013 January. And she quoted a Yoruba proverb to bolster her point. The proverb says, "The one that is being driven from the village to the town does not know the distance between the two." When you are spending money and you did not have to earn it to pay it back, you do not care. This is public funds, not your personal piggy bank. Imagine that statement coming. I would love to know What are the sentiments expressed now in the face of this reckless, careless, extravagant, out of the way process that now exists here? Every Tom, Dick, and Harry, people who are not even working within the THE. But brothers and sisters, let me tell you all something. They come, you take it. Many of you have been employed, unemployed. You are shaking hard from March last year until now. Many of you get up on a morning, and I pray for many of you. I pray for the mother who has to listen to children crying because they're hungry. I wonder how you do it. I pray for the husband, the father, who doesn't know if he would earn today. He lives in fear that his wife may walk out because she can't take it no more. The children look to him, and they look at daddy as a weakling. What is it? Many of you are suffering. Many of you have tried to get help from a very governmental structure, and to no avail. I know, right? Many of you have been kicked out on the street. You can't pay the rent. Brothers and sisters, a food card is what, $500? It may stop a hunger pan, but it will not take you any further. We see $5,000 for the folks who have lost their jobs in the tourism sector. Some of you are waiting for it because you owe the landlord 3 months' rent. And when it comes, it's done. And if there was not an election, would you have been important? Would you have been important in the scheme of things now? Would anybody have remembered that you lost your job since March 2020? Would you have been important now? The guys at the side of the road who want a job and nobody remembers them. You are important now because, but let me be honest with you. Whatever is being given, whatever pass your way, it ain't come from the pocket, it ain't come from Balizé house, bank account, whatever. It is your patrimony. Take it. Take it. They're giving fridge, they're giving stove, they're giving dryer, whatever they're giving. Take it. Because when you worked, you pay taxes. Is that they're riding on now? Right? Somebody for you is probably still employed. Their taxes have to pay for that. Take it. Because brothers and sisters, we see now. But let me tell you something. This wanton and reckless behavior means that the PDP had to get in there and, as the old people say, like a cat, land on your feet, ready for action, ready to govern, ready to take charge of this place. Money left, right, and center. How many of you haven't gotten your contract gratuity yet? How many of you have not been paid overtime for months and years? How many of you? But now they tell you, to be honest, you had to be worth more than $500. That cannot buy a proper basket. What are you going to buy? Pasta, potato, everything that is stacked with fat and carbohydrates. And then next week they come in to tell you know your numbers. What you know in your numbers with. But brothers and sisters, listen. We in the capital of food card. We in the capital of food card, and the mayor is General Grant. But there comes a man. God does send a man. Let me tell you something. You can't be under pressure forever. God here, don't care we take long. Be comforted and know that God hears. And he sends a Messiah at the right time. People believe in two words, believe in season and believe in reason. Believe in those things. When Notsi was announced as a candidate in January, I have a very good friend who lives in this area. She cried blood. She said, I want him to win it good, but who going to be my plumber? She said, Notsi ain't going to bother with me again. I can't call the assemblyman and tell him, come and fix my pipe. She said, but how Notsi go and win? I want him to win, but my plumber. And she was very upset. But brothers and sisters, don't take Notsi lightly. Do not take Notsi lightly. We have seen him before January 2021. We have seen Notsi before January 2021. We have seen Notsi from January 26, 2021 to today. Bonaccord, Crown Point, Notsi, Joel, Samson, your candidate, your next assemblyman.
Said I wanna break free from all the chains and the shackles and break free. Said I wanna break free from all the chains and the can't take no pressure upon my brain. Oh no. Good night, Spartans. Good night, Bonaccord, Crown Point. How are you feeling tonight? All you feeling for some water tonight? Before we go any further, I want us to take a moment of silence to recognize two icons that we have lost in the past week in the community. Miss Martha Archer and Mr. Kenny Crooks. They would have served in various fields, locally, regionally, and internationally. So let's take a moment of silence for them. Thank you. Mr. Watson Duke, political leader of the Progressive Democratic Patriots and candidate for Roxborough Argyle. Mr. Farley Chavez Augustine, deputy political leader, candidate for Palatavere, Lance Formey, Speyside, and our future chief secretary come December 6, 2021. Deputy political leaders, Dr. Faith B. Israel and Alicia Roberts Patterson. Dr. Sean Ned, chairman of the PDP National Executive Council, and other members. Fellow speakers, Mr. Sonny Craig, Mr. Wayne Was Clark, other candidates in attendance, PDP supporters and Spartans from across the island, members of the media, and last but most importantly, residents of Bonaccord Crown Point, good evening. Well, all you know, I am the man of quotes. I don't have nothing in my back pocket, but I have something in my brain. So let's get the show rolling. Tobago has been stagnant with a red traffic light.
The time has come for us to progress. And that could only happen when the traffic lights are on green. I stand before you a different man to the one who introduced himself at Milford Court in January of this year. I stand before you as a sober-minded, politically mature young man who has learned, according to a good friend of mine, that not every victory is a win, not every defeat is a loss. January 2021 was no loss. The 6-6 tie collectively opened the eyes of this island. This nation, in fact. It exposed the intentions of those who offered themselves for political office on the other side. It exposed their group of people who believe that Tobago belongs to them and their party alone. The will and wishes of the 12,798 electors were blatantly ignored in favor of those who supported the other side. But the God we serve sees and knows all. And on December 6, 2021, Tobago shall be well. The new district of Bonaccord Crown Point is the most diverse district on the island. There we find thousands of residents in the communities, as well as the center of the island's business and tourism industry. Tobago, I want you to understand exactly what is at stake here. You are not just seeking to elect area representatives. The Progressive Democratic Patriots is presenting to you far more than that. You are effectively choosing the CEO of your district, the man or woman who will lead you down a path of progress, increased wealth, and prosperity. I am Joel Notsi Sampson, the man who will move us from the block to the boardroom. I want to be your CEO. Let we fix this is the theme of the PDP's election campaign. Tobago has taken up this declaration as a call to arms. Let us be real. The place needs some serious fixing. It's a call to action. The work of transformation requires the commitment and work of every single one of us, down to the smallest child. Fixing Tobago requires effort. It will not be easy, perfect, or immediate by any means. We have a long, hard road ahead, but be rest assured that this team of 15 will be with you every step of the way. Let's start the things. Let we talk about Crown Point Bonaccord. These are the signs of the times, and no amount of signs could fix or hide the faults of those on the other side. Signs are not an indication of progress if you pave in roads and it still floods when it rains. Signs cannot resuscitate an almost dead tourism and business sector. Signs will not complete the airport project, nor will it bring much needed visitors to the islands. Signs cannot and will not solve the forex shortage that continues to plague our businessmen. You cannot hide your arrogance behind signs. You cannot hide your corrupt practices behind signs. Tobago reject the sign men and sign women. The only sign that the people of Tobago are interested in right now is the bamboo bolife. On that ballot paper, election day, only 9 days to go. We have not escaped the effects of the COVID-19 pandemic. We did not escape unscathed. Yet, they insult our collective intelligences by rolling out relief on the eve of an election. Disrespectful. In spite of this, we have survived and managed to cope even with those promised grants. Families found the mechanism to pivot through the use of innovation and technology to adapt to this new normal. Our children have been troopers through it all. Single-parent households have borne the brunt of the fallout, and yet still our single mothers and fathers have continued to cut and contrive to make ends meet. Allow me to share a little, as I wish to highlight an issue that is very close to my heart. This is a sensitive issue, and it needs to be mentioned on political platforms, since it affects us all. This is the issue of domestic violence and abuse. As I conducted walkabouts and held discussion with individuals, I realized that not only are we experiencing a pandemic that is causing pain, frustration, loss, and even death, but there is also a silent pandemic of domestic violence pervading our society, and this hurts my heart. 2 days ago, on November the 25th, the United Nations recognized the International Day for the elimination of violence against women. Don't get me wrong, I know some of our men also experience domestic violence and abuse. But tonight I want to focus on our females. Even as this day was recognized and that 16 days of activism began, our women and girls are still being abused and murdered. We recognize the day, November 25th, yes, but we need to have continuous conversations about how we can protect our women and girls, how we can teach our males to respect our females and take up their rightful roles in society. The hand that rocks the cradle rules the world. This means that our women are very influential in the lives of our children, so we cannot afford to lose our women. We need our women to feel safe and secure in society. So what are my plans? I, Joel Notsi, will continue to collaborate with relevant NGOs on the island who are working with domestic violence victims, all in an effort to provide the necessary resources, be it financial and or otherwise, to assist in fighting this scourge that is affecting us all. Women need safe spaces to escape to, so that they can heal and rebuild their lives. These safe spaces are usually unknown to the public due to the sensitivity of such a situation, but they need more support and resources to be effective. We simply need more. Under my tenure, I will ensure that we have more safe spaces where these women can be accommodated, empowered, and reintegrated into society so that they will not return to their abusive situations. Gender sensitivity training and awareness programs need to be integrated, not only at these safe spaces, but as a part of Tobago-centric school curriculum, as well as in our communities. We have to teach persons how to deal with anger, how to manage expectations in relationships. We have to provide counseling both to couples and for persons going through breakups. And we have to teach people how to treat each other. This will be beneficial to everyone in our Tobago space, so as to produce a better and safer Tobago. As I continue, government services, almost 2 years later, are still not properly digitized, negatively affecting the ease of doing business. Our creatives have found ways and means to harness their skills and talents to continue churning out awesome content to eager audiences across the globe. Our protective services and medical personnel have continued to go above and beyond, despite having to operate within broken systems, maintained by inept politicians and technocrats alike. Tobago, it is time to breathe easy. Tobago's development remains shackled to a Trinidad agenda. We have to wait for their masters from Port of Spain to give those who are still illegally in charge here the permission for us to move forward. All of a sudden, money like rain, food cards like Christmas, pitch like peas, but on December 6th, it's time for a change. The last 11 months has provided me with the opportunity to refine and tweak the plans I presented in January. Meetings with residents and business people have provided much needed insight on where exactly they want this district to go. I want to present this plan in two parts. The first part focuses on the residents of this community, and the second will focus on the business interest. Bonaccord Crown Point is a home to a diverse number of persons. We have welcomed persons from other parts of the island, Trinidad, and even immigrants from other islands and countries. We need to address the socio-economic needs of our residents as a matter of urgent importance. The vision I have for this district encompasses the hopes and dreams of all those I have spoken to on my walkabouts. 1, we will start by creating a human resource database. We need to know how many people are unemployed and underemployed, and what are their skills and qualifications. We need to know those who are not working in their area of expertise, and if they wish to be reassigned. A proper community human resource audit will clearly identify who and what we have at our disposal. 2, employment will be created through sustainable jobs and the provision of grants and business mentorship to start and maintain successful businesses. We will approach our business people to partner with us to roll out a business mentorship program for persons interested in getting their businesses off the ground. How are we singing so far? 3, we need to reignite the community spirit that was once synonymous within the area of using sport and community activities as the main drivers. Our community field can become a home for all the athletes in the disciplines of shot put, javelin, long jump, racing, and other field events. Cultural shows can be done at least once per month to showcase the talents in our communities. 4, the creation of sustainable avenues for youth development and entrepreneurship, especially through sustainable agricultural activities geared to better food security. Youths will have access to lands and capital to contribute to the island's food security trust. 5, addressing the unfinished negotiations of the residents of the Crumstain. It is time to put this situation to rest. We must treat our citizens better. A PDP THA would ensure that our citizens are adequately compensated and comfortably relocated. 6, addressing issues of flooding and poor drainage across the electoral district once and for all. We have a lot of corrective work to do because paving has occurred indiscriminately without considering the proper drainage infrastructure that is necessary to treat with flooding. We go in and fix that. 7, addressing issues of water shortages and inefficiency with an aim for residents and other users to have access to a regular and dependable supply of water, regardless of the season. We need solutions and not just promises. Well, you know, I am the waterman, so I fixing that. 8, re-establishment of the trade school with updated service offerings with a view to promote a more self-sufficient and independent youth that is ready to become a productive member of our society. Our chief in waiting mentioned a 2-track system, and we look forward to getting on board. 9, providing the requisite assistance to the fishermen via an adequate export-ready facility and marketing arrangements for their products. 10, establishment of programs to facilitate the differently abled and senior citizens of the district to cater to their physical, mental, and emotional needs. Full utilization of our multipurpose facility is envisioned to also provide a wide range of classes, and we will partner with Assemblyman Zorisha Hackett to design and execute these programs. With respect to the private sector, our chief has indicated that as a responsible THA, we will have to inject much needed investment to rebuild our private sector. We know their challenges and we have to put in the work because a vibrant private sector will drive our economic progress. This district is considered the economic center of Tobago with the largest concentration of tourism stakeholders and is dubbed the hub of tourism. We are host to the international airport. a meteorological center, and one of the most iconic and photographic tourist spots on the island. The time has come to harness our true potential. While being fully cognizant of the challenges that are inherent with delivery, here are some of the plans we hope to achieve. 1, regardless of what any central government says, we will ensure that whatever is built as our new airport terminal, the aesthetics must be a reflection of Tobago's brand. Spaces must be designated to display all things Tobago, from our flora and fauna to our history. Our businessmen must be given first preference to occupy spaces in that facility to ply their trade. We propose to incorporate an iconic monument that will welcome visitors to Tobago. We will invite our residents to submit design proposals for this. A statue of our celebrated son of the soil, Mr. A.N.R. Robinson, must also be featured. 2, we will embark on a program to enhance our green spaces and encourage owners of vacant lots to clean up these spaces. Vines growing along poles and up electrical wires must be a thing of the past. This is an area where we can provide aid to land and property owners through the provision of labor from the CPEP program. This will also provide jobs to persons in the districts through the cleanup and beautification efforts. 3, the roadway leading to the Pigeon Point Heritage Park will be rehabilitated and enhanced to include a boardwalk for persons who wish to walk or bike to the spot. This will be done using the requisite engineering expertise to prevent beach erosion and ensure that it is an environmentally friendly project. 4, a comprehensive drainage program to be instituted to deal with the swimming pool outside Cocoa Reef and alleviate the constant flooding issues in Bon Accord. 5, we will partner with the diving sector and NGOs like the Boko Reef Trust and Environment Tobago to establish a coral regeneration and mangrove rehabilitation program. This will provide an opportunity for students interested in environmental studies to gain first-hand experience in environmental conservation efforts and allow us to partner with universities outside the island to invite exchange students to also participate. 6, the integration of the Store Bay and Pigeon Point Heritage Parks into a tourism hub in conjunction with the private sector and village council to establish a tourist information center, taxi stand, reef boat office, and a cultural space for entertainment and local vendors, as well as a dirt oven baking and selling fresh products daily. This hub will also include the establishment of a proper loading bay for reef boats. 7, we will engage the banks in the district to provide a US ATM service for tourists and business people alike. Tobago has not one ATM that dispenses US currency, and we hope to be the first district that can provide that service. This will certainly be a boom to our foreign visitors to be able to access the US currency without having to line up at the banks and compete with locals for access to cash. If we hope to welcome international arrivals through our air and seaport again, we need to make this happen. 8, we will consult with business owners along what is known as the Strip, along with urban planners to determine how that area can be enhanced. Ideas include the removal of overhead lines to underground, rehabilitation of sidewalks and road infrastructure, and deployment of a free Wi-Fi hotspot to encourage visitors. We will re-examine the government Safe Zone initiative to determine whether it is something that can work for Tobago. A solution that works in Trinidad may not work for us. And because of this, we will engage our business community to see how we can craft a solution that fits our unique realities. Tobago, your time is now. When they come to you offering all the trinkets in the world, take it with a smile. It is yours. Your tax dollars paid for it. But on December 6th, vote for progress. Vote for a team of fixers and not destroyers. Vote for 15 CEOs who will ensure Tobago can once again be an island that we can be proud of. Vote for me, Joel Notsi Sampson, to use all the tools at my disposal to fix things in this district. People of Crown Point Bonaccord, do not stray. Put your X by the bamboo bullifay and let we fix this. I am Joel Notsi Sampson and I endorse this message. Good night.
Thank you. You hear plans? You hear competence? You hear readiness and demand? You hear somebody who is ready to work, ready to serve his people, ready to fix Tobago. Joel Notsi Sampson, the people are with you. Brothers and sisters, let us get serious for a moment. With all that we are doing here on a nightly basis, the onus is on each of you to stay safe. Please, I beg of you, observe all the protocols in the fight against COVID. Please, I beg you, do not let your guard slip. We are losing too many of our people. A tired CRIP and condolences and that kind of thing. We need each other. And added to that, if you're not safe, you will not be able to vote on December 6th if you're under quarantine order. You can't break the quarantine order to go to the polls. Keep yourself safe. Impress upon your family members to stay safe. Wear your mask and wear them correctly. Sanitize, wash your hands. From the smallest, youngest in your household to you, the elders. We need each other. Right. So we could feel it now. Yes. Nice. Brothers and sisters, for any organization, even if it's your home, the place of work, your football field, the little block where you may go for a little, line, social environment, needs a leader. Needs a good person at the helm. Because there need to be order. There is need for direction. There is need for guidance. And the PDP, we know our political leader. There is no dispute about that. But the leader of the team of 15 taking us into the THA election on December 6th is Fali Chavez Agustin. Leave people when they don't know better. That is why this is a teaching ground. So, we don't want any of us to go out there and say, forget the Fali. Put aside the Agustin and concentrate on the middle name. And then look it up. And what do you find? Of Portuguese origin, meaning keys. It's about the 16th most popular name given to boys in Spanish-speaking countries. Well, when we are finished on a nightly basis, there is enough for those on the other side to chew upon. Brothers and sisters, it gives me great pleasure to ask to talk to us, the son of a Rasta man, the Chavez coming out of Lucivale, educated in Speyside, educated at Bishop's High School, educated at Mona. People of Tobago, Spartans, those with us in the international scene, let us put it together for our leader, Fali Chavez Augustine.
This is where time waits until judgment day. We better for a chance. Hey, I'm gonna realize if I spend once must pay. So keep the big one in paradise. It's coming and misery all day. Destruction of the weak is nature's plan. The humble and the meek will understand. This day of the strong man is the devil's payday. Today we right the clock, then we mark our day.
PDP family, good night. I start to feel like I'm in Roxborough and it's the night of Monday the 6th and we don't win. I start to feel the feelings already. Are you feeling the feelings, PDP? Tobago, are you getting the symptoms that change is on the horizon? Tonight, let me start by extending greetings to our political leader, Comrade Watson Duke, and our deputies, Dr. B. Israel and Mrs. Roberts Patterson. Come put your hands together for them. As well as the national executive led by Dr. Sean Ned and Mr. Cohen. Tobago, I sat there listening to Brother Notsi a while ago. Listen, let me tell you something. Tobago, don't be wicked to yourself. The kind of quality of area representatives that we are offering to you is second to none. When our area reps come to talk, they come to talk plans and projections for the district. And, you know, tomorrow will be my day. Because tomorrow we're going to Palativale, Lansome, Speyside, my district. And let me get some in-house announcements out the way before we forget. Tomorrow, I start my spot meetings in Castara promptly at 12 p.m. I'm asking those who will choose to support and come along to tailgate the meeting from Castara into Palativale, into Bloody Bay, into Lansome, into Charlottesville, Delaford, and we end at Roxborough. I'm going to ask, one, that you be on time, and two, that you're not speaking. Try your best to stay in and around your vehicle when you stop. Please keep your mask on. It's a reminder that you still cannot drink alcohol in public. That is still not allowed. I don't want nobody to get arrested. I don't want nobody to get in any scuffle with any police. I don't want to have to look for a lawyer for anybody. And I don't want to come on the platform to try to make noise with any Balizé policeman anywhere. So let we ain't give them any opportunity at all. And tomorrow will be a test run for how we may possibly operate in the upcoming days. As we gather more momentum, more steam, as we encourage our district area reps to go out and to keep spot meetings and to connect with their communities in this last week. Tomorrow, as I move from Castara in the north, all the way around to the east, in every village, I'll be sharing my plans for my district. And overall, I'll be sharing plans for rural development in Tobago, which is important because I know the current THA, the current administration set up a committee where they're giving big work to the boys and paying them big money. Must be 20-something thousand again a month. 22,500 a month they're getting to be part of some rural development committee. And we ain't seen no development nowhere about in the rural communities in Tobago. And we are coming to fix this. Because the Tobago that PDP wants is a Tobago where there is no disparity in development between town and country. One Tobago, whether you're from Kong Point or Charlottesville or Castaro or Mason Hall, all Tobagonians having an equal piece of the pie. And tomorrow will be a demonstration of that. I also want to, before I forget, let you know that the PDP has a website. And I'm letting you know that we have a website. The website handle is www.pdptobago.org. And for those into research, you will know that there's a difference between .com websites and .org websites. The other side might have a .com website, but PDP that is about truth and facts and data and is data-driven and scientific-driven, we have a .org website. So it's www.pdptobago.org. On that website, you will find constant updates, and you will find early next week, we will put the latest update of the mandate there. If you go now, you can get the mandate from January 2021, which will establish all our core plans, and you will see the updated version before the end of the weekend on our website as well. So keep tuned to the website. You can make contact with us through there. You can raise issues, and pretty soon, all of you who live at Farin, you can contribute to the party and the party's development and growth from where you are. So PDP is doing some things. Check out the website. I was given a song sometime late last week. I think it was Thursday. I was given a song sometime on Thursday afternoon that someone, I don't know who, organized for me. And when I listen to this song, I say, well, Farley, a two left foot got to dance to this one. This one gonna be a whole scene. You know, it's quite steamy. And I think I should probably let the DJ run this song. It's just about 2 minutes or under 2 minutes. And I asked you, Tobago, are you feeling it, Tobago? PDP, are you feeling it? Are you getting the symptoms of change coming? Right, so we have this song from Swappy. So DJ, let me roll this song from Swappy a little bit. Come on, turn up the volume. Come on, get up, man. Let's go.
There is no competition.
PDP. Make some noise for Swappy. Yes, yes. We're feeling it. We're feeling it. And when this song was given to me and I listened to it, I couldn't help but think about how privileged I am. Privileged because it's not every day you see regular, ordinary, not rich, not popular, regular country boy could get to a position where Tobago is saying, we will rally behind you. That's not an everyday story, but that is a Tobago story. And I am grateful for the privilege of your support. I'm grateful that you have pushed me to this extent. And I can't extend such gratitude without also extending that same gratitude to Mr. Watson Duke. Because I realize that they can't help but call him a name. He talk, they call him name. He ain't talk, they want him to talk. He stay quiet, they have a problem. He make noise, you have a problem. He drive, you have a problem. He sit down, they have a problem. And they are so Watson obsessed that they are not even quarter as obsessed about Tobago's development. And therein lies the problem. But I've said it before and I will say it again. Which political leader in which party in the political history of Tobago has ever stepped back in a magnanimous way and said to someone younger, you go forth. I think you has what it takes to be the chief secretary. You stand forth and you stand up. I will support you. That has never happened in this politics ever before. Because if there were other politicians on this island as magnanimous as him, then Miss Tracy might have walked away and leave Ansel. Why she ain't walk away and push Ansel instead of herself? She know the people prefer Ansel to she. She know she own party prefers Ansel to her. But she could never be as magnanimous as Mr. Watson Duke. And so she has to be Watson obsessed and call his name every single night. And so let's make some noise and thank our political leader. Tonight I want to address a few areas. Quite a few areas across quite a few disciplines. Because from this platform, you keep hearing it every night. How are we going to fix some of the issues that we have? And I want to start with culture and the arts. Because today, as I was there paying my final respects to Miss Martha Archer, I couldn't help but think of the role she played in the cultural development of Tobago. She and her family, the entire Archer clan. The fact that her mother played an integral role running one of the longest running preschools on the island, right there in Canaan. And the role that she along with her sisters played for netball and played in the arts and in the police youth club. I remember as a youngster, when we had a police youth club in Speyside, there was also one down in the Bonacord Compoint area. And they had steel pan and moko jumbi and all sorts of stuff. And Miss Martha, Auntie Martha was part of that. And I couldn't help think about this thing that we call culture and the arts and what that really means for us. And I am sick and tired that the only thing we see for culture and the arts is to dance barefoot somewhere to entertain Trinis. But we don't see how we can make money from it. We don't see how our creatives ought to live off of their art and their art form. We don't understand how those who are creative among us ought to earn a living, and that this is a gold mine. If Barbados could produce a Rihanna by accident, we could produce some excellent panmen and dancers and singers on purpose too. And so we have to begin to think of culture and the arts in that regard. We have to look at the role culture and the arts play in our education, and whether or not we still operate in a system where teachers think that to sing and to dance and to be in drama means that you're wasting time that you could be in school doing something else. When what we need is a system that put equal credence on those who are creatives as we put in those who are into traditional academics. Our young people who are into visual arts, our painters and sculptors, we need to hone their skill. Why should we be talking about Mozart and talking about playing for Elise and looking at all of those white European men as being the pinnacle of artistry in the world, when we have super talented young people right here that can earn a living from their creative artistry? And so how do we get to that place? Outside of fixing how we view the arts in education, we have to also begin to look at ethnolinguistics. And that's just a big term to say we have to spend some time looking at how we speak as Tobagonians, our own Tobagonian language, and how we ought to codify that, put that into books. I can pull up now for you the Bible done in complete Jamaican Creole, complete Jamaican patois. We often wonder why everybody in the world, when they hear Caribbean accent, think it's Jamaican. We often wonder why Hollywood always have actors trying to imitate Jamaicans with a fake Jamaican accent. That's because Jamaicans recognized long before we did that there is monetary value to be had from taking pride in your own identity. And we ought to stop thinking of our language as being some degrading speech pattern that ought not to be used. Of course, language operates within context. And for us, we have the Creole and the English language operating in a dichotomous relationship. Just big words to saying that they're operating in a parallel level, where one is applicable, the other might not be applicable. And we use them in different social contexts. But we have to get to a place where we can teach our children English language, as that is an international language, and it is the international lingua franca. And at the same time, let our young people be proud to express themselves using their own Tobago Creole language. Nothing is wrong with that. And that's why from time to time on this platform, you will often hear me quote switching and swinging more into the Creole than I am in standard English. And that's not because I can't speak standard English or I can't speak the Queen's English. In fact, I taught it for 7 years. But it's because I want you to be proud of who you are. If we are to make money from the culture and the arts, you have to start by becoming proud of yourself, who you are. Be proud of your Tobago face. Be proud of your blackness. Be proud of where you're from. Be proud of the way you speak. Be proud of your cultural habits. There is nothing to be ashamed of in that. Nothing. And so some effort will be placed on how we look at ethnolinguistics and codifying our language. We also proposed to you in January that we are going to develop a heritage village. Because this thing we call heritage, started by Stanley Beard and J.D. L. and those guys, we have had for quite a while. And seasonally we come together and we have these series of concerts and dramatic productions. But it has to be bigger than that. If a visitor comes to this island off season, outside of July and August, and they're here in the peak of winter, where can they go to see a bit of our artistry, our performing arts? I went to London and they said, look, Fal, you can't come here and not go and see the Queen. So I take my foppish self on a very cold morning to stand outside of Buckingham Palace, trying to tiptoe around crowds, looking to see if I can see this gracious Queen, only to recognize that people go there by the thousands every single day just to see the changing of the guards, and the Queen ain't nowhere about near there. The point is, if people could go and look to see men in some black puffy hats and red uniforms change guards, and that is a thing for them by the thousands. They're paying for taxi, they're paying for tour guide, they're applying online for a pass to be able to go in Buckingham Palace. Why they can't come here and see real talent on an ordinary day in Tobago? And that's why we need a heritage village. We need a heritage theme park. And when we say a heritage theme park, it's because when we stopped and we think as a team that so many of our children desire to go to Orlando, Florida, to see Mickey Mouse, to see all sorts of characters created by Walt Disney. Why can't we have a heritage theme park here with our own folkloric characters being available for our young people to go and see? You going to Walt Disney World for a man to scare you out there, when you could go to a heritage theme park right here and get somebody looking like a sukunya to scare you? You spending thousands on a plane ticket to go for somebody to scare you in some dark room. Why can't we have a heritage theme park right here? And what that does is that it allows that around the clock, all around the year, some people have a stream of income. Because if you are to have a heritage theme park, the same people can operate every single day for all of those long hours. It means we have to operate on shift. It means that we have to change people in and out. It means that we have to have people with dirt oven nearby selling authentic Tobago food and confectionaries. It means you need tour guides. It means you need taxi drivers. It means you need bus drivers. You need people to welcome you. You need decorators, people in the light industry to put up all the fancy lights. You need all of these things. You need architects to help build out the plant and to keep building over years. And so that creates revenue for several groups of individuals. And that's how you start to monetize your cultural talents. I don't want people to think that Tobago's cultural talents are for free and that the only place you could see it is either on TV or for cheap at a heritage festival performance. Our visitors must be willing to come here and pay good money to see good talent. Because I can say without fear of any retribution that my people in Tobago are some of the most talented in the entire Caribbean. We are. And we need to celebrate our young people in those areas. And of course, we must tie that with education again. We have to invite the universities from around the world to come here with their anthropology classes to look at what we have retained as a post-colonial society. Are you aware that Dr. J.D. Eller was the first man in the entire Caribbean to have a PhD in anthropology? And he come from right up in rural Charlottesville, from parents who were farmers planting cocoa and copra. Yet he was the first man in the entire Caribbean, both English, Spanish, French, the entire Caribbean, to have a PhD in anthropology from right in Charlottesville. So what's happening now? Why is it we can't have all of our universities around the world, the brightest and the best, to come here and study our art forms? And that's both in performing and in visual arts. We have to place some focus on the film and music industry. And we know that this is a very cost-prohibitive industry for many young people. Many of our talented youngsters can't afford studio time. And I've been asking why we can't retrofit a few of our community centers to have community-based studios. So if you feel you could become the next Bunji Garlin, or you are the best gospel singer at your church, you could walk down the road, you sit down and you get an inspiration from the Holy Spirit. You write it and you could sing it, or you write it and you get someone else to sing it. There should be an avenue for you to be able to go and have that mic'd and recorded professionally, and that you could be on the airwaves. The local gospel market is booming, and many Tobagonians are doing extremely well in that market. In fact, they are dominating. I went to the Gospel Music Awards about 2 years ago, and the top performers that night were all from Tobago. In fact, they had a Tobago section, and I mean, one of them singing against Pastor Baines now, but that is okay. That's democracy. That is what democracy is about. But talented nonetheless. And the Tobago category in that award show was lit. Everybody was on their feet. All the church people nearly mash up Queen's Hall. And I'm saying, what is preventing us in Tobago from supporting the artistry of these young people? We're not. And that's why when I come here every night and tell you that these people waste resources for 21 years, I want you to understand how the impact of their wastefulness, because there's an opportunity cost to corruption. They can't provide your young people with those opportunities if they're busy wasting your money, if they're busy mismanaging and misspending your monies. We have to support these people. And so the film industry and the music industry require some support. They require studios, they require support for equipment, they require support in training. And let me tell you this, one of the things that bothers me a lot is that we have so many of our young children, no fault of theirs, speaking with British accents and all sorts of strange accents because they are exposed to Peppa Pig. Now, my generation was exposed to Sesame Street, and we never tried to sound like Big Bird. So something is different now. But I've always asked the question, how can we have Peppa Pig readily available on TV, but we can't get Peppa Manico on TV? Where is our local programming? Because you see, my generation grew up on something called TTT. And when you watch TTT, you had Scouting for Talent, you had the Parang with Holly Batuda, you had Dateline, I could even remember the Panorama News musical interlude. It had Mastana Baha with the Pick-a-Pan. We had Turn of the Tide, we had local films and sitcoms. You knew of Beulah and Calabash Alley, and these locals became our stars. And if we have to educate Tobagonians properly, then we have to manage the content that we put on our television for our young people. And we have to have more local content. And if Trinidad will not do it, we must do it and supply it to Trinidad. If Dr. Mack and those folks and Pagi and those guys could have had Turn of the Tide become a big hit down in Trinidad way back in those days, what's happening now? Where we have better technology, much more skillful cameramen, and people who could do the edits, we have to begin to look in that direction. And I've made the point that information division should not become a propaganda machinery. This is not North Korea. Info division is not to walk around and try to sell PNM propaganda. This is not North Korea where you're trying to sell this bigger than life leader. Information division should be helping to churn out some of these high quality educational content that can feed into the minds of our young people and our children. Look at this COVID. We struggle with this COVID. And yes, I've seen a few of the ads and a few of the write-ups on COVID. But we have not done nearly enough. That's where information division comes in. And I can tell you that after December the 6th, we will be empowering information division into allowing it to have these kind of film in build out and to have documentaries on Tobago and to tell the Tobago story. Because Tobago, if you don't tell your story, nobody now tell your story for you. And I told you some weeks ago about how the social studies books and them have wrong information about Tobago and Tobago's culture. If we refuse to tell our story, them 1%ers that live west of Port of Spain go start to tell your story. And next thing you know, Tobago will be more about them than it is about you who born here and who never string tie here. So we have to start to tell our story and to retell it. And that's why I've long urged Tobago Channel 5. I say get on the national scene. Put Tobago Channel 5 on all them other cable networks. Because there are people living outside of Tobago that needs to see how Tobagonians live and how we ought to operate. And they don't always get a true story from TV6 and CNC3 and TTT. And right now, if you turn on them station there, all you're seeing is a bag of junk from PNM. And let me stick up in there for a minute. Because I tried inquiring how much them ads really cost. Because people been telling me, Farley, I have to get some ads. I said, well, let me see how much it costs first to see if we could afford it. When I look at how much they have there, they spend easily close to $5 million on just ads alone. And that is obscene in a time of a pandemic when people are without. It is obscene when you can't find money to give people a little grant. It is obscene when there are villagers who are in need. And I'm saying, if a political party has that kind of money to throw around the place in an environment where there are no laws governing campaign financing, you should take that money and help out poor people. Right? Don't bad talk we who could only afford a loaf of bread. But you take your big chunk of change that your 1% friends in Trinidad giving to you to plaster propaganda and to slander every opponent on national television. But they have something coming to them, because this is not a national election. This is a Tobago election. And we don't care what Trinis think. It's what Tobagonians think that matters in this election. What you think that matters. So don't let the jump here. I had to tell some relatives of mine recently, aunts and grandparents and so on. I said, listen, you don't tell me who to vote and who to support in Tobago. If you enjoy your life as scholar under PNM in Trinidad, continue enjoying it. That's not my business. But Tobago is my business. You leave Tobago and left me behind. You stay down there, fight up with them down there, fight up with PNM and UNC down there, and leave Tobago to the progressive democratic patriots, because Tobago wants progress. And so we have to fix these issues in culture and the arts so that we can ensure that we monetize it. Shaw Park, as much as I don't agree with the amount we spent on it, as much as I think it's faulty in some of its design, as much as I think it's not user-friendly, it already built. So we have to use it. We can't break it down. That's a waste of more than $1 billion. And think about this. That is Tobago's single largest investment by any THA executive. Just over $1 billion. But I'm sure we have not even made $500 million from that investment. We are not making that kind of money from it. And the reason we're not making that kind of money from it is because somebody thinks the best use for a $1 billion investment is to build it, lock it up, and lay it, and put on some fancy lights when it's Independence Day to shine upon the building. You know, it's just like them long time people. You have all the fancy china in a cabinet, not using, putting away. What's the use of investing in something you're not going to use? So we are going to use it. And we are going to show them how to monetize it. And I've said that place must become a hub and a center for training. I went to school with many young people who used to be rushing down Shaw Park to meet Miss Annette Alfred to go and dance with Tapa or sing with Tapa. I have been to many cultural performances there. I could remember the same Bonaccord Police Youth Club playing steel pan and have Muku Jumbi there. I could remember seeing people like Karim Alfred Forlong from Muku Jumbo Sticks right inside that same old Shaw Park cultural complex. And so we have to begin to use this space for training of our young people. We will invite the best universities in the world in performing arts and visual arts to come and occupy the space there and begin to teach their programs from there. Because I am confident if we could get a Berkeley College of the Arts in Tobago, everybody forgetting UWI cultural programs down in Trinidad and coming up Tobago for our cultural program. Because people will just simply want the best. And we have to begin to use this space. We are going to ensure that that space has adequate rollout floors so that you can have a variety of activities there. We're not having it there for you to just be stush. It must be a place where you could get your little bacchanal shows, where you could get your little bougie shows, where you could get your sports. In fact, that has to become our own Madison Square Garden. Our own Madison Square Garden, where basketball plays one night, and the next night you could go to the biggest concert there. And that's how we have to operate down at Shaw Park. And we have to monetize that. We have to link that to THTI. Because tourism also must operate within a cluster. It doesn't operate in isolation by itself. And if it is, we are to promote tourism, we have to ensure that that cluster that includes culture and the arts is well developed. What makes Tobago special? It can't be because we are beach. The whole Caribbean have beach. It can't be because we are reef. Because if they want, they could go to Belize right up north that has the second largest barrier reef in the world. It can't be because We are nice people, I know that. We are some of the nicest people in the world. But that's not enough to attract you. Say, what gives us a competitive edge? Where else in the Caribbean can they go and see the kind of cultural art form that we have? The kind of retention that we have? Most Caribbean societies have lost a lot of the things that were brought here from West Africa. Tobago is privileged to have retained a significant portion of those things. And so we are the best people to teach the world of our experiences and to make money from our experiences. And what that also does is that it injects pride in our young people. It shows our young people that notwithstanding our past, which is marred with violence and trauma, that Tobago has come of age and that we have been able to survive the trauma of slavery and everything colonialism threw at us, and even the trauma of a colonial bigger brother Trinidad. And we have been able to stand out in the world. We have to stand out in the world. Just look at Duvon Stewart, perhaps the best panist in the world right now, from right in Tobago. Every panorama, the man coming and spin rings around all them Trinidad Rangers from right in Tobago. Why can't we produce more of that? We have to produce more. There's money to be made from that. I'm sure Duvon Stewart's yearly income will be significantly more than mine, even if I become chief secretary, even when I become chief sec. Not if, but when. And that's a message to you young people. You can earn a lot from your talent. Stop sitting down on your talent. You're a good dancer. Just dancing on TikTok is not enough. Just dancing on Facebook is not enough. You have to earn money from your talent. Let them people who want you for the music videos pay you for the music videos. You could become creative choreographers anywhere in the world. You are looking for people like you, and they want something that is authentic. Look at how the world is going crazy over Afrobeats. A few years ago, people weren't paying attention to Afrobeats. Yes, we knew of high life music from Ghana and so on, but they weren't paying attention to these Afrobeats. Now everybody wants a little African song in something. Everybody trying to learn all the dance steps from all the countries across Africa. Why? Because social media and the internet has given them a platform. So what happened to us? What's wrong with us? Why our young people can't be brushed back in on TikTok too? Why? Why you can't earn from that? You never know. You might be brushed back in Moriah and some celebrity in California see you and say, but this dance is unique. Maybe I should find this person to come and teach us this new dance. And next thing that becomes a new craze across the world. That's how the world is operating now. And I'm saying to you young people, we want to support you and facilitate your growth. We're not just about coming to give you a food card for $500. We're about coming to give you a hand up and give you a life and a lifestyle that is superior to the one you have. You must be able to make a good living in Tobago, and your standard and quality of life in Tobago must be superior to anywhere else in the Caribbean. That is the aim of this platform. And then we get to the big one, tourism. And let me tell you, COVID did not kill tourism in Tobago. The pandemic that we call the PNM killed tourism in Tobago. Prior to COVID in January 2020, tourism was already on the decline by some 11%. That's statistical fact. So COVID didn't kill tourism. COVID probably just exposed it some more. But the numbers were extremely low for international arrivals. And that's notwithstanding all the marketing blitz and marketing campaigns. We have been unable to get people through our doors. And part of the problem is that we have not had enough or sufficient international flights coming directly to Tobago. This nonsense where all our international flights, almost all, had to come to Trinidad, and then you had to sleep on the airport to try to catch a flight to come to Tobago. That can't help nobody who want to come here internationally. That is not attractive to anybody. You're not leaving your home in Europe to sleep on an airport in Trinidad, hoping to catch a flight to Tobago. The first step is that Tobago have to become more accessible to the world. And we have to have direct flights straight to Tobago. They reopened Piaco. Piaco getting international flights, including Dutch Airlines and so on. What Tobago getting? 5 or so flights a day from Caribbean Airlines. Not even back up to the maximum. And the people are so foolish. You have to social distance on the airport. They block off parts of the airport you can't go. They want you to wait outside until it's time for your flight. But they're jamming up everybody in the few flights we have. Instead of having all the flights and trying to space people out on the flights, which would make more sense. You still have to struggle to get between the both islands. And if we're not careful, the wicked cabinet and Caribbean Airlines will keep it that way. But let me tell you something. Act 40 of 1996 says that air and seaports are the responsibility of the THA. So they could do what they want down there. When PDP gets in office, we will fix that. We have to have accessibility to the island. We have to have accessibility to the island. We have to also begin to look at the infrastructural development when it comes to tourism. I tell people this story all the time. One day I'm on campus and some friends say, we're going to Mayfields, we're going river walking. I said, well, that sounds good, river walk. It sounds like something exciting. So, packed my bag. We took a journey quite out in the grill from Kingston, and it's a long, long, long drive. Because at the time, there wasn't the extension of the highway that lead into that part of Jamaica. When I get there, I spend over $100 TT, think it is some big, exciting thing. I literally just got there to stand up in a river and to just walk up the river course. That was the whole still of the exercise. And of course, the tour guides flipping off at trees and diving into the water. The point is, I know Tobago has a lot more exciting attractions than that. But we're not developing the infrastructure around these attractions. We still have waterfalls where it might be dangerous to climb up the falls. I go to other countries and they have nice little rope going up, steps going up. So even if you're slightly differently able and not as mobile as others, you could still hold on and safely access the upper tiers of the waterfall. We still have a situation where we have to beg for public toilets. If you had to take a road trip around the island, how many public toilets are there around the island? So that you could have a water break. You could have a pit stop, as they call it. Where can you have an adequate pit stop? And even at our gas stations, I don't even know if the bathrooms at the gas stations are accessible to the public, because they always lock them up. The point is, how do we expect tourists to come here and simple things like adequate pit stops are unavailable on the island, especially going to the rural ends? We should have across the island these nice binoculars that you could see far off in the distance. You go up the fort, you see the binoculars there, you think they're working, and all know the things them still ain't working. Look how long they install them there. Look how long. Simple things like that. We have to look at how we develop our marine parks, our walking trails. Well, I don't even want to say the word zip line, because if by now we should have be able to not just zip line through the rainforest. We should have be able to zip line from up Flagstaff down into Charlottesville, or from the lookout in Speyside all the way over to Little Tobago. The single longest zip line in the world exists in Haiti. What is Haiti's economy by comparison to Tobago? Haiti has the longest, go and research it, long zip line going over the water. When a cruise ship pull in, you could go on the zip line. What happened to us? What wrong with we? Clearly PNM bite we. And that's why we are in this position. We have to fix the huts at the rafting canoes. We have to have a cable car system. We in fact proposed a cable car system from Speyside going over to Little Tobago. We have to establish our marine parks, not just in Boko, but also up in Speyside. We also have to look at community-based room stock enhancement. And what this means is that we have to focus on our Airbnbs and focus on our guest houses. That is a core part of the Tobago product. The village tourism experience. There's a reason why everybody wants to go Castara. They're not going up there because they have a Marriott up there, or because they have sandals up there. They're going because they can experience life in Tobago in a very authentic way. That's what they want to experience. They could go up there, they could let loose, they could dance to some reggae on the beach, they could smoke a little weed, right? Which is decriminalized now. They could go fishing with the fishermen, the fellas on the beach there with steamed fish, or they're making a fish broth, or they grill, they have the waterfall across the road, right? So we have to support our community-based room stock. We have to support them. We have to help them fix up the place that they have a higher standard. We have to get them all listed on Airbnb. And I understand that governments are reluctant to support Airbnb because it's difficult to tax Airbnbs. But for me, I'm not so much concerned about the taxes to be collected from Airbnbs. I am more concerned about families' abilities to earn money and be able to put food on their table. Everything can be about how much tax we could collect. And that's why we also propose that when the THA is building homes, we build homes in such a way that homes can have income properties as part of the package. So while you may not be able to afford the entire mortgage on your own, if the home is constructed in a way that has an income property, the income property downstairs the house can help offset the cost of your mortgage, and you could afford to live with a roof over your head. So we have to support them. We have to develop the harvest product. Harvest is the best thing to happen to Tobago. It epitomizes how Tobagonians live and treat people. Because where else in the world can a perfect stranger just walk into a perfect stranger's house and sit down and get food? And not just any food, good food that you're not getting salmonella from and you're getting food poisoning from. Where else in the world? Where else in the world but Tobago? So it's a core part of our product. And we have to work with the churches because there's a church element of it that we should not allow to die. And the cantata, we have to work with them, have the cantata televised and shared around the world. We have to work with our homes and begin to teach our families some best practices when it comes to preparing meals and some of the health and safety standards so that a visitor won't risk getting sick. We also have to ensure that on our calendar, we have all of our harvests listed. And what PDP has proposed is that Tobago will finally have a properly functioning app, that you could get any and everything Tobago related from that app. From bus tickets to knowing what is happening where. You should be able to land in Tobago, pull up the app, and immediately see where it have a harvest, or who has some special function. And you in the private sector must be able to plug your information into that app. We also have to look into golfing, because golfing is one of those areas that monies can be earned. And it's one of those opportunities that we have not paid attention to. And it can't be the only time we hear about golf is when a prime minister come up to bounce down an old lady. We have to have a proper golfing industry on the island. Golfing, a golf center with driving range, within the constituencies. People who come to Tobago have been complaining. After I come to Tobago, I get a nice villa, I get a nice beach, I get a nice view. What can I do during the day or outside of going to the beach? What do I do? People have been asking. They have been asking us to consider things like water parks. We have proposed, in addition to that, having one of our estates conformed into an open range type zoo, where you will be in the vehicle driving through a sort of a tropical environment, and all the animals within a large acreage are there for you to view. So it's not the type of zoo you see at Emperor Valley Zoo in Trinidad, where all the animals are in cages and you are free. But this is the type of zoo arrangement where the animals have some free range, except snakes, of course, because they, of course, cannot be barred in with a fence, right? But where you can drive through a natural park and experience the animals. We also are looking at developing all of our green spaces. Look at the condition of botanical gardens. Botanical gardens dry in rain. It's in rainy season, it look dry and sparse. Imagine that. Even in the rainy season, the grass ain't even growing properly in the botanical gardens. It's an embarrassment. And that is supposed to be a green space in the middle of our center that is supposed to suck all those toxic carbons from out of the atmosphere. We have to create proper parks for our families, for our lovers, for people who just want to go walking and holding hands. So on a Sunday, on a Saturday evening, on any time you so choose, you could take your family, go on a nice picnic somewhere and be safe and know that you have bathroom facilities nearby. You can spread your nice little rug or your towel or whatever, blanket on the floor and sit down with your family, because we have to encourage family development. The Tobago we have must be a Tobago where families feel like they can come together. The last time I went on the boardwalk down in Shagaramas, I went on a Saturday night and I was amazed at the amount of families I saw there. Families just there congregating. Granted, I paid close attention to the type of families that were there and the ethnicity of these families. And I asked myself, where are the families that look like me, and why weren't they out with their families on a night like that? Why weren't they making use of safe public spaces? I mean, when I went on the avenue afterwards, I saw a lot that looked like me. And they weren't there with their families. But the point is, we have to provide spaces for families to spend time with each other. Because a different kind of Tobago PDP bringing it. We ain't bringing the kind of Tobago where you just sat to stay home in your house, nothing to do but go online and make comments. No. The kind of Tobago we bringing is a Tobago where families feel safe and secure enough to go out with each other. And imagine a visitor coming to our island and seeing that. Imagine they can go to a space where there is a nice artist there doing portraits on the spur of the moment. You pay and you get a portrait. Or somebody there with balloon craft. Or you get some nice confectionaries hot out of the stove. Or that you can enjoy listening to some folk music, singing live and so on. Or some steel pan music. These are things that we have to look into. We also have to pay attention to the competitiveness of Tobago. Because the truth is, in many ways, it is more expensive to travel to Tobago than to travel to other Caribbean destinations. I have had friends in Trinidad who tell me, boy, why Tobago is so expensive? Some have been saying, look, I could get better deals just going right to St. Lucia and Barbados and all-inclusive deals at that. People spending... in Tobago, it's difficult to get affordable accommodation where you could afford food, drinks, and everything. And the rest of the Caribbean killing me with these all-inclusive packages that we cannot compete with, and that we have to begin to look at our competitiveness. Part of the reason is that food prices in Tobago are too high. The prices in the supermarket are way too high. And we have to look at the comparative cost of living difference. You think Tobagonians want to go on a boat and go down by Price Mart and go down by Jumbo Foods and Extra Foods and get 20 for plenty? You think we don't want 20 for plenty in Tobago? But supermarkets in Tobago can't get 20 for plenty when the system is rigged against them. And we, on the other hand, have to pay these exorbitant costs. And it's not just food, but the cost of healthy foods are even more expensive in Tobago. Market goods, fresh produce, very expensive. And that too is a factor we have to consider when we're going to look at the competitiveness of our tourism market and getting people to come here and be able to afford it. We have to decide ultimately what type of tourism product we want. We have to decide ultimately if we want a tourism product that caters only for the rich and famous. And we could decide that. If you go to Anguilla and some of these destinations and like St. Barb's and so on, those are celebrity paradise. They cater for the very wealthy people. They are exclusive as exclusive gets. We could decide if we want to go to that extent. We could also decide if we want to go to the other extent and make our destination about family and make it affordable for visitors all around. Make it cheap. We could decide if we want to go somewhere in the middle, but we have to make a decision about what kind of product we wish to offer. And we have been outstanding on that decision for a very long time. And that's why PDP is here. Because PDP is saying to you, when we have area reps like Joel Notsi Sampson, and area reps like Wayne West Clark, and area reps like Sonny Craig, bringing Sonia Days to Bukumbong Pleasant, and area reps like Niall George, and Zorisha Hackett, area reps like Nigel Tate, Mighty Tatos, area reps like Trevor James, who will help us to refurbish. In fact, we build Scarborough to build from scratch. When we have area reps like Abby Taylor and Ian Whitey Pollard and Miss Megan Morrison and Dr. Faith B. Israel and Watson Duke. When we have area reps like Terence Baines in Bethel New Grange. And of course, a chief secretary like Farley Chavez Augustine. And let's not forget Miss Natisha Charles Pantin out there in Bagatelle, who have these kind of visionary plans for the district. Then collectively, we will see a better Tobago. And that's what we're saying. We are remodeling how we do development. We are moving development from the center and taking it out in a very satellite way to include those people on the margins. Rural communities like Spacer and Shalloville and Lansomi will not be left out. Urban centers like those in Crown Point and those across in Pump Mill and Spring Garden will not be left out. And when we each in our individual districts fix our districts and build out our districts, we will end up with one cohesive, good-looking Tobago. And the face of Tobago will not be a red and distressed Tobago, but a green and prosperous Tobago. That's the kind of Tobago we wish to present to you. And so I tell you tonight, Tobago, as I do every single night, with just 8 days left to go, we can make Tobago the greatest little island on the planet. And you have to believe that. You have to work towards achieving that. That's the kind of Tobago we want. We don't want a Tobago that's seke, anyhow. You do things anyhow. You wake up one morning, you feel to pave here, you pave there. You feel not to pave, you ain't pave it. You feel to give a man 40 million, you give him that. You feel to take away this from a man, you take it away because that's not the Tobago we want. We want an organized Tobago. We want a Tobago where people come together in brotherly and sisterly love. We want a Tobago where all communities feel a part of the whole and no community is ever left out. We want a Tobago where people can come and feel safe and feel like they're in paradise. Where people can smile again. Tobago, I want to put the smiles back on your faces again. I want you to smile a while again. And you will smile after December the 6th. In fact, you will smile from the night of December the 6th. Because as of midnight on the 7th, the morning of the 7th of December, it will herald a new day for the people of Tobago. A brighter Tobago, a better Tobago, a more productive and industrious Tobago. A Tobago that our young people can be proud of, that you can be proud of. A Tobago where all of you win and not some wins. And above all, a Tobago that is on its way to becoming the greatest little island on the planet. Thank you, Tobago. Good night, and I love you.
Spartans, it does not get better than that. I hope you understand that Tobago can become, as Chavez has says, there is hope. Let us have that expectation. Let us begin to envisage the changes that will take place in this island. And let me tell you something. This ain't going to be any one term. Understand this. This ain't going to be any one-term administration. When we wipe out on December 6th, be gone. Be gone. Ladies and gentlemen, remember tomorrow at 12, Castara, spot meetings throughout the constituency of Palaturville, Landswami, Speyside. On Monday night, the focus would be on the electoral district of Mount St. George, Goodwood. In all that you do, PDP people, obey the laws of the land, obey our health protocols. Please, be safe, have a good night, get to your home safely, and we're feeling it. Go safely, people. We will be fixing Tobago. Let me fix this. And remember, encourage all that you come into contact with, that the X is needed next to the bully fee. Right there. We need the X. Jam the X on December 6th. But in all your jamming, we don't want any spoiled balance. No spoiled balance. With all that you're doing, no spoiled balance. Jam the X. Jam it. Have a good night, people. Be safe.
We voted for Friday, Chavez, Augustine. Yo, Tobago, PDP, big green party. The care more people and comment the same. Read everything that and vote for Friday, 6th of December. Just vote PDP. Vote Friday. PDP, where you vote? Friday. Tobago, where you vote? Friday. PDP, where you vote? Friday. Vote PDP, that party. Vote PDP, vote Friday. They want good governance and honesty. Build Tobago and the economy. PDP, you have to say no who you vote on December the 6th. Sports for the youth, make sure they keep with them other parties. Let's let them be the better. Vote for leader for the country, arrest any problem. Yo, PDP, when they go again, vote reason for the progressive democratic patriots. We voted for Friday, Chavez, Augustine. Yo, Tobago, PDP, the big green party. They care more people than come in the same way. They think that and vote for Friday, 6th of December. Just vote PDP, vote Friday. PDP, where you vote? Friday. Tobago, where you vote? Friday. PDP, where you vote? Friday. Vote PDP, that the party. Vote PDP, vote Friday. They want good governance and honesty. Build Tobago and the economy. More work you want than make your finger them other party. Just a master that good governance.
Spot on!
Think about the poor health care and jam the X in. Think about the poor educational system your children have to face with. Jam the X. When you think every time you can't go down in a pothole, jam the X. Every time you think that you are poor and you're needy and the food card flying elsewhere because you are perceived to be of a certain other color, certain other political loyalty, jam it. Put it right up inside.
PDP for the win now.